try to win another series today in Chicago. It's the rubber match between the Twins and White Sox as Minnesota wraps up this 5-game road trip. The Twins trying to keep pace with the Tigers and Royals in the Central, while the Sox are in danger of falling behind the Indians at the bottom of the division. The Twins are 6-3 against the White Sox this season. Happy Sunday and welcome inside U.S. Cellular Field. I'm Jamie Hirsch. The Twins were able to hang on to a 1-run lead yesterday to beat the White Sox thanks to some solid pitching and some great defense, highlighted by another spectacular catch by Aaron Hicks. He's made 2 diving catches in back-to-back games, first laying out in left center to save a run on Friday, and then yesterday he went the opposite way to add one to the highlight reel deep in right center field. And after the game, I asked another talented outfielder, Torrey Hunter, which catch he thought was better.
I give it 10 for both of them, man. That guy's out there, he has me pumped up. You know, defense is everything to me. And he's out there, even though he didn't get any hits, he's out there taking hits away from guys. I think that's more important than anything.
Aaron Hicks has always considered Torrey Hunter his role model in center field, but today Torrey joked with Aaron that he wants to be like him when he grows up. Still to come before first pitch, Dick and Roy will break down the keys to a Twins win with the series with the Sox up for grabs.
Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Dodge. Come discover great deals during the Dodge Drive and Discover event. One more game in this Chicago series. One more game on this road trip. It'll be right-hander Kyle Gibson going for the Minnesota Twins. Twins will face another lefty, Jose Quintana, in the series finale. And welcome to Chicago. Dick Bramer, Roy Smalley for the last game of this 5-game road trip. A lot of people felt in the American League Central would be the toughest division in the American League, in part because of the really good left-handed starting pitching. Guys like David Price and Chris Sale. and the Twins have handled all that left-handedness rather well.
They really have, and if you think about the top four, Dozier, Mauer, Hunter, Plouffe, really the big four in this lineup, they have hit lefties very, very well and used the whole field to do it. You see some of the numbers, 307 against starting left-handers with 37 extra base hits. Then on top of those four guys, the switch hitters that manager Paul Molitor has in the lineup generally better from the right side. So all in all, even though, as Dick says, a lot of really good lefties in this division, the Twins have acquitted themselves very, very well.
Twins have the best record in the month of May in the American League, and within the roster, Kyle Gibson having his best month as a major leaguer.
Very, very consistent, and very consistent with pounding the strike zone with all four of his pitches. Two different kinds of fastballs, a nice little slider, and a changeup. And what Kyle Gibson has done with those four pitches, frankly, is just pitch. He's throwing all of them in different counts. He's setting guys up inside and throwing the ball away. He's been a very good pitcher this year.
Twins have 12 of their next 16 at home. They'd like to enter that home stretch with a win on the road.
Ritual. A furious reunion. 19 games that last an entire season. To have a rivalry, you need a rival. For every David, a Goliath. For every Hatfield, a McCoy. Every Jamie Burke, a Torrey Hunter.
Oh my goodness! Burke gets flattened!
Every Jim Thome needs, well, Jim Thome.
Deep to right, and there it goes! The first walk-off hit at Target Field in dramatic fashion.
For every fight, a ring to sell it in.
In order to finish first, somebody's got to finish second.
I hate second.
Brian Dozier walks off the White Sox.
Love your rivals, because you need someone to beat.
This rivalry has tamed over the years, and both teams have had their issues on the field, and it will intensify again when both teams get good. In reality, Roy, it's the first time I've done that in 2.5 weeks. In reality, the Twins are off to the type of start that a lot of people thought the White Sox would get off to with all their offseason moves. The Twins evening their mark in the American League Central to 15-15 with yesterday's win. Here's the Menards batting order for the series finale. Brian Dozier, Shane Robinson, Joe Mauer, Trevor Plouffe, Torrey Hunter, the designated hitter, Eduardo Escobar, Chris Herman, Eddie Rosario, and Aaron Hicks.
Jose Quintana on the mound for the Sox. Very, very hard luck pitcher and almost no run support. He's really pitched pretty well, especially the last 4 or 5 outings. The White Sox, I think, scoring about 1.8 or 9 runs a game. Just not getting any support. Let's hope that continues, and these right-hand hitters for the Twins jump on him.
Twins 14-6 in the month of May, the best mark in the American League. Dozier takes down and in, ball 1. Dozier, Robinson, and Mauer facing Quintana for the second time this year. A deep drive to left field. Brian Dozier has started this game with a home run.
You just have no idea how valuable it is to have a guy in the leadoff spot that can get you 1-0 in the first inning this as often as Brian can do it. It's just really, really overshadows any leadoff deficiencies you might think that Brian has. But no surprise, a high fastball cutting into him. He has the quickest bat on a fastball middle in above the belt of anybody on the team, and he does it again.
Hadn't had much success against Quintana, but now has a leadoff home run and a quick start for the Twins. Here's Shane Robinson. Twins continue on this road trip their pattern of scoring early. Not often, but early. They've had a hard time scoring after the 3rd inning, but in 3 of the games they've done enough early scoring to win the ball game. Strike on the outside corner, 0-2. Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. Innings 1 through 3, 17 runs scored, and after the 4th, just the Mauer home run in the 13th inning, the game winner in Pittsburgh the other night. The Twins on this road trip, 3-1. What we've seen, Roy, is Twins playing very good at home all year long. Now they're taking some of that good play on the road with them.
All part of a really rejuvenated attitude about grinding out at bats, about taking real pride in playing 9 innings on the road in tough fashion.
Snap bat and a hopper to Gillespie. Over to LaRoche, 1-1. The defense brought to you by Northland Ford. Field for the White Sox today of Melky, Cabrera, Adamit, and Avisail Garcia, who's back in the lineup after missing the first 2 games. Gillespie, Ramirez, Sanchez, LaRoche at first base. Abreu, their designated hitter. And Tyler Flowers, their catcher for the 2nd day in a row. White Sox very happy to have Garcia back in right field. He's been their best hitter so far this year. Mauer takes a strike on the outside corner.
Joe continues to be really, really good against left-handed pitching. It's really remarkable how successful he has been against lefties in his career. He just hasn't slowed down yet.
Hitting nearly 400 against Quintana. And this is a guy that's had some success against the Twins, but Joe's had more than his share of hits against the lefty.
And Quintana has been very good against left-handers everywhere else in the league. Nobody told Joe that.
2 strikes to Mauer. And a breaking ball that just missed the outside corner, 1-2. Joe didn't play yesterday, and it's tough when you are coming off a tough loss as the Twins were Friday night to not put Joe in the lineup, but the Twins have a lot of day games and of a challenge for a manager to try to do what's in the long-term best interest of the team. And yesterday, in the manager's opinion, it meant putting Mauer on the bench to start the ball game. A 2-hopper to Sanchez for out number 2. We'll bring up Plouffe.
He has the same kind of difficulty with his catcher, deciding what kinds of days or nights and when Kurt Suzuki will get some time off. Today, he determined it was one of them, Chris Herman with the start behind the plate.
a late day game yesterday. This obviously a day game tomorrow on Memorial Day. Another one on Wednesday, complicating things a little bit. Here's Plouffe. At the knee, strike one. Off the plate, 1-1. Quintana had a good start against the Twins on May 1st at Target Field. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. Inside now, 2-1.
Kind of seeing already the way Quintana likes to pitch. That's a little cutter. He tries to run in on right-handers and then get him out. He's got a sinker that he'll throw away. He's got a big curveball that we've seen and a changeup. There's the big curveball.
3-1. Hunter on deck.
So like many lefties, he just wants to be crafty. He wants to use both sides of the plate with fastballs, and then get right-handers thinking inside and get him away with sinkers and changeups.
And Plouffe fouls one over the screen.
Not unlike Jeff Locke the other night in Pittsburgh. Same kind of approach for the left-handed pitcher here, Quintana. Quintana might have a little better stuff than Locke had, or has. But same kind of approach from the left-hander.
Swing and a miss. A strikeout to end the inning, but on the second pitch of the inning, Brian Dozier hit his 9th leadoff home run. The Twins have the first lead. Run on the second pitch of the game. Robin Ventura with a disappointing homestand and a daunting road trip ahead of them. This is a critical juncture for the White Sox, and they'll try to win a ball game here this afternoon with this Menard's batting order. Adam Eaton, Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu, and Adam LaRoche, Avisail Garcia hit well overall, certainly against the Twins, and Connor Gillespie, Alexei Ramirez, Tyler Flowers, and Carlos Sanchez. You see Kyle Gibson, who had maybe his best major league start against the White Sox on May 1st.
Yes, he did, and he's pitched very, very well this year. With the hiccups this year that he has had, minuscule in comparison to last year. Very, very much more consistent so far for Kyle Gibson this year.
Down and in, a ball. When Gibson faced the White Sox on May 1st, he was locked into a pitcher's duel with Quintana. Twins won the ball game 1-0, and Gibson went 8 innings, gave up just 4 hits. Driven to left, Shane Robinson makes the catch, 1 away. He gets the ball airborne with authority, but to the left fielder, 1 down. Northland 4 defense for the Twins. Robinson in left. Aaron Hicks, who's made 2 sensational catches in this series already in center. Eddie Rosario getting right field. Plouffe, Escobar, Dozier, Mauer, and Herman around the infield.
And don't you get the sense with those 3 outfielders in the lineup today, or Torrey Hunter, the 3 out of those 4, give you a tremendous sense of confidence in the ball comes down in the outfield. It's going to be in one of those guys' gloves. Those guys are playing really, really good outfield defense, led by the spectacular play of Aaron Hicks in there.
Twins, as we mentioned, 14-6 in May, outside 2-0. Best record in the American League, and the area that they have been most improved in, if you were to break it down, is probably outfield defense. They were not good in April, and they've been very good so far in May. There's a strike, 2-1. On the left. Playable for Robinson. Got a ground ball pitcher so far, keeping the left fielder busy. 2 down. And that'll bring up Jose Abreu.
You get a lot of fly balls from left-handers when you have a reputation of being a sinker ball pitcher, as Kyle Gibson is, and then all of a sudden you start forcing fastballs in on lefties like he did there to Eaton and Cabrera. They're looking to wait longer, hit the ball the other way on that sinker, and when they don't get the sinker, when it gets in on them, they'll be behind a little bit and underneath the ball. That's why you see the fly balls like that to left field.
Twins infield shifting Abreu, and no surprise, a breaking ball and a swinging strike 1.
Kyle Gibson has pitched Jose Abreu very, very well this year. Saw that breaking ball. He's gotten him out there. Then he comes inside with the hard sink, then goes back out there with a breaking ball. He's really had him off balance.
Abreu this year against Gibson 0 for 6 with 3 strikeouts. Allen has to be encouraged with what he's seen from the staff in general, but in particular Gibson, who in 4 prior starts in May has pitched with an ERA of 1.38. Across the letters, 1 and 2. One and 2 on the ground, playable for Escobar. And a nice tidy 1-2-3 first inning for Kyle Gibson on 11 pitches.
Second, we mentioned earlier the Twins have the best record in the American League in the month of May at 14-6. Paul Molitor is pleased with that, but he's been more impressed by the way his team has been able to respond after a loss. If you throw out that awful road trip they had to start the season, the Twins are 11-2 after a loss, and Molitor says that points to leadership and keeping perspective that win or lose, the next day is the next day, and that's led to a lot of fun. Glenn Perkins says he hasn't had this much fun coming to the field in a long time. He said off days the last few years were pretty welcome. And now he said he feels like he'd rather be at the field. He is having a great time. So is the rest of the team. They are staying loose, and that is translating to a winning record, guys.
Well, thank you, Jamie. That's been evident in anyone's interaction with this team, whether it be at the ballpark or elsewhere. This has just been a fun season so far. After a deplorable first week when it looked like this team was going to suffer through another really difficult year, that hasn't been the case. I think the manager, first-year manager, deserves some credit for that, trying to offer some perspective after the first 7 games that we got a long ways to go. We got plenty of time to make up for it. Fouled back by Hunter. You know, you played many years and you've had good starts and bad starts as a team and all that, but you just have to. The Twins will have bad weeks later this year. You just have to try to step back and try to get the wider view sometimes. 1-2. Half swing, strike 3.
There's no question that you're right about that, and no question that a lot of that is a result of the attitude and demeanor that Paul Molitor has on this club. Torrey Hunter, another big contributing factor to that overall attitude. That man right there, Paul Molitor, has a power, I think, to his club, because he's a Hall of Famer and he's been through the wars. He knows how hard the game is. His players know that he knows.
Ball down and in a swing.
So when he says, let's just forget that loss, tomorrow's another day, or today we won yesterday, but we got to get today, I think that translates very, very readily. Somebody like that says that.
Nice backhanded pickup by Sanchez. Escobar hit a bullet and hit the mound, and it gave Sanchez a chance, and then he turned in a fine play for out number 2.
Very nice play by the young second baseman. Unlucky for Escobar that the ball hits him out and jumps up, but he picks a really, really difficult hop, kind of an in-between hop that he backhands. Watch this. That's a great play. Once he does that, he's athletic. Once he catches it, he's athletic enough just to jump up in the air so that he stops his momentum a little bit and is able to throw him out at first. But very, very nice play.
Chris Herman, the starting catcher. Strike on the outside corner, one of the 3 left-handed batters that Quintana will face. And Roy spoke earlier how tough Quintana has been on lefties. 6 hits in 44 at-bats. A 136 opponent batting average against left-handers, and Herman falls behind quickly, 0-2.
Tough life of a backup catcher. You get games based basically on when the manager needs to give the first-string catcher day off, not without any thought about how he's going to do against the pitcher or how the pitcher might work on him.
1-2.
Chris hadn't played for a long time. The first at bats he gets here is he gets a really tough left-handed pitcher. That's just kind of a hang with them, son. You got to go out there and do the best you can.
You got Mauer on a ground ball to second, facing Herman. He'll face Rosario in the next at bat, whenever that is. And inside, a swinging strike 3. 6 in a row set down by Quintana after the Dozier game-opening home run. certainly been a winning road trip, thanks largely to some very good starts on this road trip. Our T-Mobile game changers, the Twins starting pitchers, who've given the Twins a quality start in every start but the first, and the only thing that made that not a quality start is the one out that Ricky Nolasco did not get.
And might have gotten it were it not for an error behind him. So
right.
Ricky did pitch very, very well. And all of these guys, the characteristic that man, pitching coach Neil Allen, has kind of woven into the fabric of their belief system here is use all your pitches, use them in different counts, different times. You've got breaking balls and changeups. Use them, and use them a lot. Be pitchers. And they've all responded to that very, very well.
Strike two called to Adam LaRoche. You know, when the Twins had that really good homestand, 8-3, they were winning games by 13-3, 8-7, 13-0. And that was great. Entertaining for the fans and all that, but I think particularly if the Twins can win here today and get a good start from Gibson, that would be the much more encouraging, because in the long run that we spoke of a moment ago, you've got to have good starting pitching. The Twins have gotten it so far on this road trip, and if they can go 4-1, that who knows where that may lead the team.
No question about it. And to go 4-1 on the road with well-pitched games from your starters in every one would be huge.
1-2 to LaRoche. He'll be followed by Garcia and Gillespie. Look into Herman. Swing and a miss. Gibson gets a strikeout. His first of the ball game.
Good slider. We look at Neil Allen, and he's encouraged Kyle Gibson and all the pitchers to throw more changeups. In the very first inning, here's a changeup with 2 strikes to Jose Abreu. Gives a harmless ground ball to short for the 3rd out. And I would guarantee you that hardly a changeup was thrown from Kyle Gibson last year to a right-handed batter. Neil Allen saying, look, I know you like to throw it to left-handers. Throw it to right-handers, too. Use that pitch. And they're doing that more and more. It's kind of not an unwritten rule, but most pitchers don't like to throw changeups to the same side hitter. They throw changeups to the opposite side hitter. And Neil's belief is you throw it to both guys, and I agree with that. If you throw it in good spots, it's really a good pitch. Because like he's doing here, changing eye angles, he's got a sinker that runs down and in on right-handers. He throws that 4-seamer up there with eyes. He's got a slider that breaks away, and then he's got a changeup. And it really, really messes with hitters' minds when you throw all of those pitches all over the zone.
Well, the fastballs, one a strike, one a ball, and now a ground ball. We've seen Gibson in this at bat. Clocked at 96, which seems a little high, and a couple of 94-mile-per-hour fastballs, but he does have 2 of them.
Yes.
He has the 4-seamer and the 2-seamer with movement.
Well, let me tell you, that 2-seamer with movement, he generally throws at 91, sometimes 92. That's a lot of velocity for a ball that moves as much as his sinker does. That's just fine.
1-2, and now 2-2. Two to Avisail Garcia. And a base hit over ahead of Dozier in the center field. Garcia's been bothered by a bad right knee, but he is aboard as the first Chicago base runner. May 26th, Scrubs Night at Target Field. It's Tuesday night, and it salutes healthcare professionals in the area. Special ticket package is available that includes exclusive Twins branded scrub tops. Limited number of ticket packages are available, and your only way to get the Twin scrubs, visit twinsbaseball.com/healthcare for tickets and more info. Here's Connor Gillespie. As you might expect, Gibson with that sinker. He's got a lot of ground ball double plays. 9 of them in 8 prior starts.
Sometimes you just, as a pitcher, you just have to tip your hat to a good hitter. Here's a pretty good pitch. A slider got a little bit too much height in the strike zone. He was trying to go down and away, but he had buried some fastballs in on him pretty well. Had him set up for that pitch. And Garcia's big and strong and good approach at the plate. Sometimes you just have to say, okay, I should have gotten it down a little bit more, but that's more good on him than bad pitch by the pitcher.
1-1 to Gillespie. Gillespie 3 for 7 against Gibson. Two and one.
There's that hard sink, 94. You saw how the ball really moved away as we look at pitchers in the league throwing ground balls and getting double plays. Kyle Gibson leading the way, and it's because of that sinker you just saw. Even when you throw it for a ball like that, when it's 94 and it's got that much movement, that really impresses a hitter.
Swing and a miss, 2 and 2.
There it was again, 92, a lot of movement. And the other thing about Gibson and his sinker is he stands tall and throws it from a high release point. Generally speaking, you think of Carlos Silva, you think of guys that kind of throw from the side and throw the sink. But Kyle Gibson's release point is up above his shoulder and then gets the same kind of great sink action, and that is very unusual for a hitter. You just don't see that very often, and it's harder to pick up. Harder to imagine that much sink.
Ground ball past Dozier, and Garcia will check in at second base. Back-to-back singles for the White Sox and a tying run at the scoring position.
That was just a little bit too much of the plate, and both of these base hits kind of in the middle of the zone. The slider to Garcia was up out over the plate. This one kind of right down the middle. Started a little bit in and tailed back over the middle of the plate. Must be able to handle that pretty well. So the slider to Garcia on the corner, but up about belt high. That one about belt high middle, and those are the kinds of pitches that Kyle Gibson wants to stay away from, and has done a pretty good job of doing so this year.
First and second, one away, and here's Alexei Ramirez. Thing that we've noticed this year, and it's all part of, I suppose, being a more mature pitcher, more seasoned and experienced pitcher in combustible situations like this. Gibson's done a much better job, and more often than not, has been able to get a ground ball double play instead of a two-run double.
And on top of that, that's true. And on top of that, you could tell last year when he just didn't have it. He didn't have command of his stuff, and he would just fall apart. Couldn't find it. And he's able to get it back more this year than we've seen in the past.
Down and away, 1-1. He's got those reverse splits that just seems like we see more and more, where Gibson's been more effective, much more effective against lefties than righties. Gibson giving up a .229 batting average to lefties, 284 to righties. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball, 1-2. As Gibson was getting his season started, you look at the numbers, 229 against lefties. The month of April was okay, a higher ERA, but Gibson wasn't striking out many people. He struck out a dozen in 22 1/3 innings. Or 6 rather, in 22 1/3 innings, and now he's got 13 strikeouts in May in 26 innings. Not a strikeout pitcher, but he's increased his strikeout rate and could use one here. Nice block by Herman, 2-2.
The slider that he's trying to go to here with Ramirez is probably his best potential strikeout pitch. He'll get some on changeups to left-handers. He'll throw the ball, the four-seamer in on left-handers every once in a while and get a strikeout. But I think in talking with Kurt Suzuki, and Kurt thinks that slider, both to right-handers and back foot to left-handers, can be his strikeout pitch.
Came inside, a foul tip, and Herman hangs on. Ramirez does strike out for out number 2.
Or maybe a changeup to another right-hand hitter, and this ball really went down. This is a nice changeup right here. We've been talking about all series about how Ramirez is ever ready for the fastball, and he thinks he's getting one there, and it actually was a changeup. Comes out looking like a fastball, really goes down hard, with about 7 miles an hour less speed. What a nice pitch.
Tyler Flowers with 2 on and 2 out. Foul back, 1 strike.
Got away with one there. He's still feeling for the breaking ball just a little bit. He's throwing some really good ones on the knee high on the corner and just off. But he's had a couple in the middle of the strike zone too. And when we talked about this before, when a pitcher throws a slider strike in the middle of the zone, it's basically not sliding much. It's basically a spinner. And those get hit a long ways.
1 strike to Flowers.
That's the one he wants right there. The difference between that pitch and the one before, night and day. Flowers fouled back the first one with a home run swing. That one looked like it was a strikeout swing. Same pitch, 2 different executions.
Gibson trying to strand Garcia and Gillespie after their 1-out singles. Smothered by Herman.
I've always thought that both as a hitter and as a shortstop standing behind pitchers, that when you get a guy 0-2, 1-2, you decide where you want to strike him out and then go the exact opposite for one pitch and then come back to it.
Inside 2-2.
For example, you get to 0-2 with Flowers, and that pitch right there, pretty good. You throw hard. If you know you want to strike him out with that slider away, then come in hard, show him that, make him think he might get that. Not for a strike, but just in off the plate, and then go back to the slider. Vice versa. Tease him with a slider outside and try to break his bat, one or the other. But I like 2 strikes. I like going one pitch completely opposite of where you want to strike him out.
Checked his swing. Full count with Sanchez on deck. Runners will leave early, and important for Garcia, still not running well. He'll get an earlier jump from second base. Herman out with a word for Gibson. Gibson trying to protect a 1-0 lead. And a big pitch here in the second inning. And Gibson with a fastball delivers a big pitch to strand 2 runners. The Twins have a 1-0 lead. Brian Dozier, to put the Twins in front with a home run, will hit again in the 3rd. Chewy Link, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. 1-0 Twins. A Brian Dozier home run on the second pitch of the game against Jose Quintana. He's been retired 6 up, 6 down ever since. It'll be Rosario, Hicks, and Dozier facing Quintana in the Twins' third. Inside, ball 1 to Rosario. Rosario, the third left-handed batter, facing Quintana, who's been awfully good against left-handers this year. One hop smash to LaRoche. To the bag, one away, a well-hit ball. But the first out of the third. That'll bring up Aaron Hicks. Twins losing Friday, winning yesterday, and it's been remarkable. Back-to-back games, less than 2.5 hours. We've, coming into play today, only had about 4.5 hours of baseball, and we've completed 2 games.
A lot of 4.5-hour games by themselves last year.
Here's Hicks. Hicks hasn't gotten a hit. He's hit a couple of balls hard, but he hasn't gotten a hit in this series yet. The Twins were in the game Friday, and they won the game yesterday because of Aaron Hicks and what he did out in the field. Strike 2.
We talk about being strong defensively up the middle, and center fielder as important as the shortstop and the second baseman in that equation. He can be a game changer, a guy that's that good, like Torrey Hunter and Kirby Puckett proved.
3 pitches, he's gone, 2 down.
He's going to have to hit a little bit. The one thing about that is that you want to be strong up the middle, but you can't give away all offense. And so his continued improvement as a hitter is going to be very, very important, just to keep that glove in the lineup.
And this is where I think Torrey's presence, Hicks came up, got a few hits right away, and things were going okay. But now he's hit a little bit of a skid, having a hard time making contact. And to the extent Torrey will be able to help him at all get through to the other end of a slump, foul back, strike. It'll be times like this where the mentor will work with the understudy.
Well, there's always 2 parts to swinging the bat well or not, and half of it's the mental part, half of it's the hitting mechanics. Torrey can help him an awful lot with the mental part. There's no question about it. Now, whether or not he's going to get to a point from the swing mechanics standpoint where he can be consistent, is the jury's still out. The jury is not out on how Aaron Hicks can play center field, that's for sure. We know he's sparkles out there.
Another drive to left, but hit right at Cabrera. A 1-2-3 third. Dozier just missed another home run. The Twins carry a 1-0 lead. his center fielder made.
Well, I want you to watch a couple of things here. Watch how quickly he gets a jump on the ball. He's already moving way early. Look how far he goes, and look how he times the jump and catches it backhand. Spectacular. Now going the other direction, same way. He's got a great jump on. Look at the route he takes. He runs right to where the ball is going to come down, lays out. How far he has to run, how fast he's going when he starts his dive. That is so athletic and so good and so instinctual out there in center field. Just terrific plays to watch. You can watch those plays over and over and over and see little things that he does to make that play work. Ooh.
Line tight to Sanchez. He was hitting the calf by a pitch yesterday. Gibson runs one up and in, 1-1. It'll be Sanchez, Eaton, and Cabrera. 8 for 9 first pitch strikes for Kyle Gibson. Trevor May did a great job with that yesterday. And now 1-2.
I just think it's interesting to watch the pitcher and catcher work together with the pitcher stuff. He buzzed his fastball under his chin and the pitch before, and then Chris Herman came right back with a changeup down and away. And there's the strikeout pitch that Kurt Suzuki was talking about. So you throw it in, make the hitter think that he's got to be quick on the fastball in there. Then you come back with a pitch that looks like it's going to be a fastball and dips below the bat.
1 down, 4 outs by a strikeout in a row. And here's Adam Eaton with a liner to left his first time up. It was Eaton who hit the ball yesterday that Hicks tracked down and diving for it near the warning track in right center. And everybody I talked to, Shane Robinson, Aaron Hicks, Torrey Hunter, I mean, they all were amazed that the ball traveled as far as it did. It was an off-speed pitch, a breaking pitch, off of Gibson. And Eaton will reach, and we'll see where exactly it hit Gibson. He seems fine. It's a 1-out single. Herman checking. Gibson says he's fine. Third hit for the White Sox. Left wrist, maybe?
Yeah, hopefully just off the heel of his glove, which is not going to be do him any damage.
Eaton can run, and that was one of the significant parts of the catch in yesterday's game, too. If Hicks doesn't make that catch, if it hits the ground, Eaton's at least standing at third base, probably. Here's Cabrera. Fly ball to left, his first time up. Slapped foul.
I'm actually kind of surprised, especially Torrey Hunter saying he's surprised the ball traveled that far, because they will all tell you how much they love hitting here because the ball jumps so
to right
well.
center. But that was what they all said. There's a channel here in right center, regardless of how hard or what direction the wind is blowing. It just really consistently seems to carry to right center field. On the ground, could be, should be, 2. And a double play on the ground. Gibson with 3 shutout innings and a 1-0 Twins lead. Our carsoup.com trivia question: which left-handed pitcher has the most career wins against the Twins? My goodness. Left-handed pitcher, the most career win. Now you could be talking Lolich. I'm going to put my money on Tommy John, who sat in that chair for a couple of years doing Twins telecasts. The ball hit into the right field corner. It's down for a hit. And Robinson's going to dig for two. Garcia with a strong throw, but not in time. A first pitch leadoff double for Shane Robinson.
Nicely done by Shane right there. Dropping the ball down the right field line and running hard out of the box. He's got good speed. Ball away. He goes with it. Keeps it fair. Garcia with that gimpy knee a little bit. Doesn't get to it real quickly, but he's got a strong arm. Shane Robinson, very good speed though.
6 outfield assists for Garcia, but Robinson's speed gets him a leadoff double. He'll bring up Mauer. Joe bounced to second his first time up. And by the way, when I say Tommy John sat in that seat, I mean that literally. I believe those are the same chairs we had here 20 years ago when Tommy was broadcasting Twins games.
I hit against Tommy a lot of games and played shortstop behind him a lot of games in New York when we were teammates with the Yankees.
1 strike to Mauer. Now a ball.
You know, it's interesting. Here's a situation where you would think it's the hitter's job to get the runner over from second to third here with nobody out. Paul Mulder's got a really nice program with his hitters. He'll tell them when he, above all, just get him over some kind of way. But for the most part, they want to trade places. And
right.
You were talking about that the other night in Pittsburgh. And Paul, as much I think as any manager that I've seen, wants his hitters to think about trading places with guys out there. Go up and get a ball to hit and drive it somewhere. Don't give yourself up. So with Joe right here, he'd like to direct the ball to the right side of second base, but he's looking for something he can hit hard.
And he takes 2 and 1. Quintana pitching from the stretch for the first time today with only other hit, only other base runner, Dozier, who trotted around the bases on the home run. And you hear it all the time during batting practice. You heard it in spring training. When they do the situational hitting drills, trade places with them. Go ahead, get your own extra base hit. This one lashed to center field and dropped by Eaton in center. It'll go toward the warning track. Robinson will score. Mauer to second, and Mauer does trade places with him on a 2-base error in center field.
You see very disgusted Adam Eaton there. I think one of two things, and maybe both happened. Joe really hit that ball hard, and the ball could have been knuckling on him just a little bit. So Joe smokes it pretty well to left center. Eaton comes and gets a good jump, and that ball was really moving. And I think he might have also lost it in the shirt sleeves back here in the stand. He was really disgusted about something there. Shane Robinson scores easily.
Well, they give Mauer a base hit and an error in a charge to Eaton, and that's got to change.
Well,
I refuse to change that in my scorebook. That's there. Now they've changed it.
It can't be both. Well, no, man, it can't be.
It was at one point.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it can't be.
Ball 1.
I mean, either it was an error or it was a hit, but the error didn't happen after the hit, or vice versa. I mean,
1-0 to Plouffe, who struck out swinging his first time up. Missing inside 2-0.
Here's another great example. Trevor's not up there to hit something weakly to the second base, to the right side of the field, just to get Joe over to third base. Paul wants Trevor to drive the ball. Now, if a byproduct can be that it's hit that direction, that's great. But don't give yourself totally up. Just make a weak out just to get the guy over. You're too good a hitter. Let's trade places with him. Drive him in.
To Plouffe. Foul back, 2-1. It's the second run the Twins have scored on this road trip after the third inning. Mauer's home run in the 13th, the eventual game-winning run in Pittsburgh. The Twins haven't done anything else in terms of run scoring after the third inning until Eaton's error allowed Robinson to score. Now we'll see if the Twins can put a crooked number up in the fourth. Ooh, just foul. This crossing the bag by much. Third base umpire Doug Eddings with the best view of it.
One thing the Twins have done as well this year as maybe anybody in the league and anybody I've seen for some time is when they have the potential for a big inning, it seems like they go ahead and figure out a way to have a big inning. And it takes some real clutch hitting, some good. It all comes back to how their mantra is having good at bats, battling at bats.
On the ground into left center field. Bauer had to hold up. He'll gain third base. And Eaton with a double clutch, and then he threw the ball to Ramirez. Glenn, I know, tempted to send Bauer in, but it'll be a base hit for Plouffe. First and third, nobody out.
Trevor hits this ball really hard. It hits it in front of Joe, so Joe not exactly sure whether Ramirez can get to the ball or not. You see he hits in front, so he's got to wait and let it go through. It's really hard to know that even if you know that shortstop's playing Trevor Plouffe to pull, as we look at a quick trip to the mound by Donnie Cooper, the White Sox pitching coach.
Cooper missed a couple of days because of a high school graduation and is back with the team now.
Well, what I started to say is even though the ball was hit in front of Joe, and so he had to hold up, he didn't really know, he had to wait. Even though Ramirez was going to his left and ended up diving for it, he wasn't really sure whether that ball could be caught. And even with a dive, might be able to be the only out at third base. You don't want to do that with nobody out. So he did the right thing in making sure.
Indians now dropped into double play depth for a while. Looked like they might bring the infield in early in the game. First and third, nobody out, and Hunter at the plate. Strike one. Hunter's gotten some awfully big hits over the last couple of road trips. Had the great series in Cleveland. Had a big home run to start the ball game yesterday. Line foul. And to the extent this team can continue to play good baseball on the road, again, the value of a veteran like Hunter, who has played as well for many years on the road as he has at home, gotten enough big hits at home and on the road. Let's see if he can get one here. Behind him, the count now 0-2. Struck out swinging his first time up. Up and away. For 26 in his career against Jose Quintana before play today. 2-2, blocked by Flowers. We've got an insect issue, something buzzing around his neck. Great chance for the Twins to create some breathing room here in the fourth. Quintana will not get any outs. Had it not hit his glove, it was a tailor-made double play grounder. As it is, first and second, still nobody out with another run crossing the plate. That ball was hit right to the shortstop Ramirez. It'll be an infield hit for Hunter.
Yeah, breaking ball that the pitcher doesn't come up with, and that's maybe the most frustrating thing as a former shortstop, I would tell you.
Booth tried to advance to third, but didn't realize the play was called dead.
The umpire said, no, go back. Your time's out here. But just very, very frustrating. But, you know, when you're out there as knowing you're getting a ground ball double play and then the pitcher gets in the way of it, almost impossible to tell the pitcher not to try to go for whatever he can get to. But boy, is that frustrating when you see that double play developing, and then all of a sudden it's knocked away and you get nothing.
Hunter gets an RBI, his 26th of the year. First and second, still nobody out. And Escobar hit a smash up the middle. It hit the mound, and with that added topspin, Sanchez was able to make a really fine play near the second base bag, backhanding it, throwing him out. Strike one. Houston and Detroit tied at 7. Astros scored 3 in the first. Detroit had some fun for a while. Now it's tied at 7. If the Tigers lose and the Twins win, the two teams will be tied for second place in the American League Central. And given the fact that the Tigers have beaten the Twins 7 times in 9 games, that's remarkable.
Well, I think what another part of that being remarkable is they enter today's games even in the loss column.
Yeah.
The only reason Tigers are ahead of them is a couple more games that they've played that they've won.
To the right field corner, chased by Garcia. He makes a running catch. Hunter will try to tag as well, and both runners advance.
Outstanding play by Torrey. Just an outstanding base running play by Torrey Hunter right there. Knowing right away as that ball was hit that he ought to tag up instead of going halfway, because he knows Garcia is going to get to the ball and catch it, so why go halfway? He goes back to tag up. He also knows that Garcia's got a gimpy knee, and he's going away from his throwing arm, so he knows he's going to catch it. Now watch how long it takes Garcia to get stopped, and by that time Torrey takes the extra base.
Now, whether it's because Garcia's got a gimpy right knee or not, but he just kind of threw that flat-footed. He didn't really plant. This guy's got a strong arm, but he didn't use it that time. He's the infield in now. Herman swings and misses, and this is where Quintana's game is on the line. He's up against a lefty, and he needs to strike him out as he did in the second inning. To put the ball in play here. You can get an easier base hit with the infield in.
Here's where Chris Herman needs to give up one side of the plate. I think if you give up the inside fastball, look for the ball out over the plate, try to hit it the other way, then you're not vulnerable to the breaking ball as much.
Back on the outside corner, 1-2.
Now you just got to battle the best you can. You're likely to get anything, fastball or that slower slurve breaking ball that he's got. But I really think you've got to give up, be willing to be jammed by the fastball, just so that you're not out in front or unable to hit everything else that's from the middle of the plate away. Especially with the infield in, you got a chance to bloop the ball left, just make contact.
Ooh, Flowers with an awkward catch. Runners at bay. Look at this catch on a pitch that was about 18 inches outside.
Yeah, it's so funny how catchers try to backhand everything now. You see that glove's going the wrong direction. Tim Lauder, I can hear him right now grousing about that.
Big spot here for Chris Herman. Tough assignment against a tough lefty. 3-2.
That's a good take. It's a good hang in there by Chris Herman. Not jumping out in front of the first thing you see, but he's got to stay with that approach right now. Just because he's gotten to 3-2 doesn't mean automatic fastball count.
Herman just 1 for 13 against lefties this year.
If you're going to make it out on the inside fastball. Just wait on everything else.
And Herman takes a walk to fill the bases. And Eddie Rosario, another lefty, will step in.
That's a very nice at bat by Chris Herman. Not having played in a long time, not having had many at bats, get up against a tough lefty and grind out a walk there to load the bases. That's a nice at bat by the young man.
Rosario hit a ground ball to first his first time up. Rosario with 5 runs batted in his first 4 games. He's only driven in 1 since, and he's got a chance to have a big at bat here with the Twins filling the bases. Strike on the outside corner.
That's the pitch right there. As a left-hand hitter, you can't hit if you're trying to pull the ball, if you're thinking about pulling the fastball, which it looked like Rosario was that time. But that's okay until you get to 2 strikes.
25 pitches this inning for Quintana. Up the middle, through for a hit. Plouffe will score. Hunter around third, and Rosario delivers a 2-run single.
And that's the left-handed bat we're talking about. Stay in the middle of the diamond right there so you're not fooled. Terrific at bat by the young man. Rosario, who has been in a bit of a slump, but to stay with that breaking ball because he wasn't trying to pull the fastball there. Look how still his head stays. He's right back through the ball. And once again, with the opportunity to have a big inning, Twins figure out a way to have a big inning.
At least 4 here in the 4th. First and second, 1 out for Hicks. Scott Carroll warming up. Crooked number, and after the 3rd inning. See if there's more out there with Hicks at the plate, 2 men on. Fastball gets a swing and a miss. Hicks struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. Popped up, strike 2. Taking advantage of a misplay in center field. 4 hits in the inning. Quintana with a rare walk to a left-handed batter.
A great base running play by Torrey Hunter.
Yes. And now Hicks drives one to right field. Garcia with the catch. Herman played it 1/3 of the way. A chance to advance there. 2 down. 9th man to bat is Brian Dozier. They've already run on Garcia twice this inning. See what they can get done now with 2 gone and Dozier coming to the plate. When Quintana faced the Twins at Target Field at the start of this month, he pitched well, but his mound opponent Kyle Gibson pitched a little bit better. Now things have crumbled in the 4th inning for the White Sox, and it's a 5-0 ball game. Chopped wide of third over the head of Gene Glenn. Twins have 12 of the next 16 games at Target Field. A 6-game homestand, 4 games in Boston, then another 6-game homestand, and they played very well at home. And if they can continue to do that, it might extend what has been one of the very pleasant surprises of the 2015 season in baseball. Popped up near the dugout for the Twins and out of play. You know, if it weren't for the Houston Astros, the Twins would be getting much more national attention than they have gotten to this point. A team with 4 straight very disappointing seasons, low expectations this year. In the offseason, you heard about the Tigers winning the division. The Indians, according to Sports Illustrated, were going to win the World Series. The White Sox were supposed to contend. The Royals went to the World Series last year.
Yeah, I think it's just fine. They just fly under the radar here a little bit for a while and continue to sneak up on people.
1-2.
in my estimation, the very, very best national exposure you get is when you're in the playoffs. Up until then, just forget about us for a while.
1-2. Dozier gets a piece. And that, in essence, has been Terry Ryan's attitude when asked about the division. Hey, the White Sox won January, but we don't play games in January. We start playing games in April.
Or on paper.
Right.
That's right. It's a great thing about baseball. You got to play them out. You play out all 162.
Swing and a miss. Dozier strikes out 9 men back. 4 of them score. 2 driven in by Eddie Rosario. We'll have more on the Twins rookie when we come back.
Crowd here today. Jason and Diana Ovis from Beloit, Wisconsin came down to say hello before the game. They were his host family for 2 years when he played for the Snappers in low A ball. They made the trip to watch him play for the first time in the majors, and they are thrilled that he is getting this opportunity. Diana told me he is the most humble, kindest young man who loved pizza and McDonald's when he lived with them. They still text and talk on the phone regularly, and the Ovis family is so proud to see him playing in the big leagues.
Boy, that was really, really cute to see the genuine emotion between their family and Eddie back and forth. That was nice.
Inside to Jose Abreu. Now Kyle Gibson pitching with a 5-run lead. It's something that is done in baseball and the low level of the minor leagues anyway that really is special. I know Alexi Castillo when he was playing with the Twins, 1-1 to Abreu. If there was an off day and he would drive down to Cedar Rapids, Iowa and see his host family. Back when the Cedar Rapids Colonels were an Angels affiliate, Castillo went through Cedar Rapids on his way to the big leagues. And you can imagine, I suppose, you're from a foreign country and you come to this country and everything is new to you, and in a way your adoptive parents, your host family, become more important than your real parents. For that short period of time.
For that time, I think it has to be a very real sense. Absolutely.
1-2 to Abreu. Roshan Garcia will follow. Driven to right. Retreating is Rosario at the fence. And ball's gone. A home run. Immense power through all parts of the ballpark. And Abreu's put the White Sox on the board.
We talked about him yesterday, what a terrific hitter he is because of his strength and skill, in evidence right there, but also in evidence his approach, being willing to wait and hit the ball the other way and then have the power to deliver on that. Once again, driving the ball to right field is what makes him such a dangerous hitter, his ability to set up to hit the ball that way and be strong enough to deliver on it. And once again, Kyle Gibson struggling to find his slider consistency. He's thrown some really good ones and thrown some right in the middle of the strike zone as well.
Mauer on the next pitch fields a ground ball, goes to the bag. LaRoche quickly retired. Tonight, Fox Sports Live will get you caught up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights on tonight's MLB games. You can see Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1, or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports North. Avisaíl Garcia in a 5-1 ball game. We mentioned the White Sox have a tough road trip ahead. It was tough enough to start with. After the game today, the White Sox, with a schedule that would see them go to Toronto, have an off day, and then go to Houston, a 6-game road trip. But the off day was taken away when they had the civic unrest in Baltimore. They've got to spend the off day on Thursday playing 2 games that were lost when they were supposed to be played in Baltimore. So what was supposed to be a 6-game, 7-day road trip has now become an 8-day road trip. Actually, I'm sorry, Texas is on the end of the road trip.
Right, that's even longer.
So it's an 11-game road trip. Swing and a miss. Garcia's gone very quickly, 2 down.
So we really are seeing a tale of 2 sliders here today from Kyle Gibson. 2 terrific ones in a row to Garcia. That's where you throw a slider, right there on the corner, breaking off. You recall last time Garcia was up, he got a slider, but it was up about at the corner, but about belt high. He got a base hit, threw one to Abreu about out over the plate, home run. This strikes out Garcia on 2 great slider locations right there. So as long as he can throw it down there, they're not going to hit it. If he throws it up in the middle of the zone, it's a dangerous pitch.
5 strikes presented by Dodd. Gillespie signaled to Dozier's left. White Sox had back-to-back hits in the second with 1 out on the outside corner. So just allow me to clarify my own confusion. The White Sox will have 3 games in Toronto, then have 2 games on Thursday, 3 games in Houston, an off day, 3 games in Texas. And it's not the All-Star break, still very much early in the season, but it's a critical road trip for Chicago, particularly if they lose this ball game here today, and will have gone into the road trip having lost 5 of their last 6 home games. 1-2. Two and two. Gibson came into the game with 2.98 ERA, just off the top 10 chart in the American League. Swing and a miss. A leadoff home run for Abreu, but the next 3 men go down quickly, and it's a 5-1 ball game. Twins in front 5-1. Here's our Pepsi fans of the game behind the vendor. Shane Robinson started the 4th inning with an opposite field double. He takes strike 1, leading off the 5th. It'll be Robinson, Mauer, and Plouffe facing Jose Quintana. Twins have touched him for 5 runs, 4 of them earned. Strike 2. Robinson yesterday, how tough the sun was yesterday in left field. He talked about some balls that got up into the sun. It wasn't just the shadows around home plate, but the sun setting over the roof of the ballpark made it tough, particularly in left field around 5:30 yesterday.
Very tough for him out there because the ball comes out of shadows and into the sun in your eyes.
Inside 2-2. Chopper to short. Ramirez charges. And by a half step, Robinson retired. 1-0. Twins have faced a lot of left-handed starting pitching. 20 left-handed starters on the season. They'll face just right-handers in the Boston series. Joe Kelly, Clay Buchholz, Rick Porcello. Twins will answer with Nolasco, Pelfrey, and Hughes. Twins don't have a left-handed starter. They had one. They sent him to the minor leagues, and Tommy Milone hasn't given up any runs. He had 8 more shutout innings today before giving up a run in the 9th. Howard tries to turn a fastball around. 1 strike. Tommy Malone's given up 1 run in 4 starts since being demoted to Rochester. Left field corner. Cabrera gets there on the edge of the track. 2 down. That'll bring up Trevor Plouffe. Limited 16-person suites are available on both Sunday, June 7th against the Brewers and on Father's Day, June 21st against the Cubs. Each 16-person premier suite includes food and beverage and 2 parking passes. Kent Herbeck will stop by on June 7th to relieve you of some of the food and beverage. And Jack Morris on June 21st will come by for a family photo. Call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com/groups for more info and to reserve your premier suite. 2 down. Here's Plouffe. 1 strike. Plouffe with a sharp ground ball single past Ramirez at short and into center field his last time up. One and 2. Fly ball right field. Garcia steps underneath it. And Quintana rebounds with a 1-2-3 fifth.
not so good slider. Here's what happens when you get the slider up above thigh high. Even though it's got some break, it's on the outside corner. It can get hit pretty well. Watch the angle of this one, though. Not only is it out in the outside corner, it's also breaking down below the strike zone. And that's the strikeout slider. The one that stays up there in the strike zone is the hit me slider. You see the two versions. Most of Kyle's have been the swing and miss slider, but every once in a while he's gotten one up there where it's a hit me one. There's a great example of the kind of break you want on a slider. It's not just horizontally, it's not just right to left, but a little tilt on that thing. And when he's got the tilt and it's down in the strike zone, it's a very tough pitch to hit.
Gibson will face Ramirez, Flowers, and Sanchez. He struck all 3 batters out first time through the batting order, and he has 6 strikeouts in the day, tying a season high, a career high of 8 strikeouts a couple of times last year. 1-1 to Ramirez. Swing and a miss.
Well, now I guarantee you he's throwing more changeups to right-hand hitters than he did all last year. There's another really good one, and I really, really like the way he's using all of them to all the hitters in all counts. I mean, very, very impressive.
1-2. You know, a pitching coach or a manager can talk about it and encourage it all you want, but you're never really going to get over that obstacle, that hurdle, unless the guy takes it out there, throws it, and has some success with it.
Absolutely
right. 2-2. Full count. Gibson with just 5 walks so far in May. Hasn't walked anybody here today. He has given up 4 hits, 3 singles, and the Abreu home run. Foul near the Chicago dugout.
The other thing about taking those pitches out there and throwing them and having success with them, if your pitching coach and your manager have your back about saying, look, we want you to throw it, but then when it's not successful, say, stay with it, keep doing it, because it's going to, in the long run, it's going to be better. Then you can feel pretty good about continuing to throw it. And that's what Neil Allen has done. He's preached doing that, but he's also preached staying with it.
Line foul by about 8 feet. Yeah, I suppose if you're out there and you're afraid to make a mistake because you might lose your spot in the rotation or something like that, it's a little bit harder to use pitches in unusual situations.
Well, it's the old deal about here, pitch him tough, but don't walk him.
Right.
Well, use all your pitches, but don't let him get hit.
Tapper towards short, and Escobar rifles his throw over to Ramirez. Long at bat, but a successful one for Gibson. 1 down. Tomorrow's Memorial Day and a Minnesota Twins Military Monday presented by Fox Sports North. During every Monday home game, active military members or veterans with a valid ID and up to 4 guests can receive half-price tickets in home plate view seating locations. Tickets are available at the box office on game days only. Visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events for more details. Tyler Flowers, the batter. The ground, Dozier to his left. 2 down. I'm looking forward to getting home tonight, as I always am, but we land right near the Fort Snelling Cemetery, and I expect it'll be bedecked with American flags. Interesting story. I'm sure many of you have read it. The Star Tribune today, John Temlin, their outstanding columnist, talking about the picture of a bald eagle that was resting on one of the tombstones at the Snelling Cemetery, and just hope that everybody spends some time tomorrow honoring the day and those we should be honoring on Memorial Day. 2 down. Here's Sanchez.
Absolutely right. Very, very important day in our nation's observance.
1-1. Sanchez struck out his first time up. Cracked foul. 1-2. Part of the development of any young pitcher, I suppose, is handling adversity, but also handling success. Gibson's been handed a big lead here, and You'd like to think that this lead's in pretty good hands, maybe more so than it was a year or two ago when he was still trying to adapt to life up here in the big leagues. He's delivered 16 of 18 first pitch strikes. He's given up a home run, but it came with the bases empty when he's had a couple of situations where the White Sox have had men on base.
16 of 18 first pitch strikes. Hasn't walked anybody yet. All right there with those two stats, you figure he's going to pitch a good ball game.
It's off a leg, rolling out to Mauer, still 2-2.
And the strikes that he's been throwing, whether the first pitch or any other time, for the most part, been very, very quality strikes, quality pitches. You can tell when a lot of times where a catcher, not a lot of times, most times, where a catcher sets up. Once they agree on the sign on the pitch is going to be thrown, then the catcher sets up. Is the pitcher throwing it in that vicinity? If he wants to go inside corner, is he throwing it on that corner or missing in? Same way, is he throwing on the outside corner if that's where it's called for, or missing away, not back over the plate? And that's what we're seeing from Kyle today.
Chop to Dozier. This is a great Gibson inning. 3 ground ball outs 2 times through the order. And through 5 innings, the Twins have a 5-1 lead. Torrey Hunter will lead things off for the Twins in the 6th.
Bring your Circle Me signs, and if you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery winner's circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Torrey Hunter takes down and away ball 1. It'll be Hunter, Escobar, and Herman in the 6th inning. Strike on the outside corner. Torrey hit a chopper that could very easily have been a big double play grounder in the 4th inning. Quintana gloved it, couldn't hold it, went for an infield hit and an RBI. Screamer foul. Twins were able to score 4 times as many runs in the 4th inning than they did from the 4th inning on in the rest of this road trip. A 5-1 lead. The Twins trying to head home with a 4-1 road trip. And foul up the third base line. Twins schedule sets up this way, and great opportunity for you to get to the ballpark and see this surprising Twins team. 3 with Boston, 3 with Toronto, 4 days on the road, and then 3 with Milwaukee, 3 with Kansas City. High and deep and very foul down the left field line. To me, one of the most encouraging things about the way the team is playing and the hope for corner that has been turned. 1-2 to Hunter. This time, Quintana hangs on. 1 down. This is your last chance to become a weekend warrior for this season. You can get all Friday, all Saturday, or all Sunday home games. Become a weekend warrior and Twins season ticket holder today. Get your ticket to summer, and you can purchase it by May 27th, which is Wednesday. Call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com/weekend warrior. Here's Escobar. But to me, one of the most encouraging things about what we've seen roughly a quarter of the way through the season, the turnaround, if that's what we've been witnessing, has been done without the likes of Alex Meyer, who's had a very disappointing year. Moved to the bullpen now at AAA. There hasn't really been a whole lot of help from the minor leagues. Buxton, Sano, Barrios, they've all stayed where they started this year. The Twins haven't had to move some of their top prospects up, and yet here we are.
And it's great because they've stayed where they should be this year. They need some more development. All those guys that you mentioned, and there hasn't been the pressure to move them along because of how well this club is playing.
By the way, could there be a more aptly named minor league team than the one Doug Minkiewicz is managing? Because Twins fans are going to be looking out for Byron Buxton, Miguel Sano, Max Kepler, Jose Barrios. That's the nickname of the team, the Chattanooga Lookouts. Escobar retired, 2 down. I gotta believe the answer to our carsoup.com trivia question is a guy who pitched against the Twins an awful lot, parts of 8 decades. Tommy John. And it's Mark Burr. Okay.
I was going to say, did Tommy strike out that many guys? Certainly not after he came back from the surgery for which that was named after him.
And Tommy John's not even on the list. Hacked foul by Herman.
There was some great left-handed pitchers in the old days that pitched against the Twins too. Sudden Sam McDowell.
Right. Like I mentioned, Mickey Lolich.
Mickey Lolich was another one.
1 strike to Herman, who drew a walk in the 4th, but it was an awfully big walk. It helped open the door for Rosario's 2-run single. Chasing a high pitch, it's 0-2.
Frank Tanana, before he hurt his arm, he was some kind of good. He had terrific stuff. Chris Sale kind of stuff.
Nice left-handed compliment to Nolan Ryan.
Oh man, you go into the series you get those 2 guys back to back. You got 0 for 8 staring in the face.
And that got a piece of flowers. 0-2. Paid attendance today after a sellout crowd yesterday. 30,180. It's pretty good. The White Sox have had a tough time selling tickets even after they won the month of January, and it ultimately will come down to how they play on the field, and they have not played very well. 2 strikes to Herman.
As far as the fans of the Twins ball club, I think there's a couple of contrasts with the White Sox team that I find interesting. I think Twins fans ought to consider it. That is, this Twins team, not only are they playing well, they're ahead of the White Sox, but they're a fun team to watch. I think the Twins ball club, very, very fun team to watch.
Popped up short right field. Sanchez wants it, and he's got it.
Because they run the bases well, they catch the ball, they're pitching and hitting. I just think they're fun.
by Toyota. The Toyota Time Sales Event ends June 1st. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Twins getting another well-pitched game from their starter. Today it's Kyle Gibson's turn. 1 run allowed over 5 innings. He'll face the top of the Chicago batting order. Eaton, Cabrera, and Abreu. In this series, the Twin starters have a 2.84 ERA, which is just about what Gibson's season ERA is right now. A lot of first pitch strikes, and he throws one there to Eaton. Here's how abrupt this turnaround has been for the Twins, and what might be the case after play today. Pulled foul. It's entirely possible that on Memorial Day, the Twins will have the 3rd best record in the American League and the 5th best record in the major leagues. I mean, that could happen.
Yeah.
After maybe the worst week of Twins baseball I've ever seen that started this season. I mean, it was horrible. High, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, what was too bad about that first week is I think it defined for some people, fans, too quickly that this team was not going to be any different than the last 4 years. And I heard a lot of ground ball to Dozier, nice play, give a speedy Eaton. I heard a lot of people whose attitude was defeatist right away after the first week, and it's not going to be any different. And truly, it is different. Paul Molitor was talking about it before the game today. He liked the way this team competed last year. They were a little short on some talent, but they were in ball games, and I feel the same way. I watched them last year, and they competed very, very well. They figured out ways to lose games a lot of the time, but they were not pushovers, and they started this season poorly, but have been competing ever since, and now competing with a little bit more talent and with a year's more confidence, a year's more seasoning on their starting pitching staff and some of their veteran players like Dozier and Plouffe.
A fly ball to center field, routine to Hicks. Jamie Hirsch, you've got some thoughts about this Twins turnaround here early in the season.
Well, it just goes back to what Paul Molitor was saying before the game today, and Glenn Perkins, I had a chance to catch up with him too. He said after that first week when they started 1-6, Paul Molitor had a team meeting, and he said, this isn't the team I saw in spring training. He thought they were playing well and doing a lot of little things right in spring training. He said, let's play like that team. So after the home opener, they had an off day, and he said, let's come back, regroup, and play better baseball. And ever since then, they have. So that first game after that off day at Target Field, when they beat the Royals, that was really the turnaround of the season so far.
Thank you, Jamie. Ball 1 to Jose Abreu. He had an opposite field home run leading off the 4th inning. And since then, Gibson has retired 8 men in a row. Back to Gibson. He knocks it down. He's got plenty of time to recover and make the play. Another 1-2-3 inning for Gibson. And the Twins hold on to that 5-1 lead. Twins up by 4.
And they got started early. Second pitch of the game. Brian Dozier does it again. A leadoff home run to put them up 1-0. Then in the fourth, Eddie Rosario with the bases loaded drives in Trevor Plouffe and Torrey Hunter. Other than that, it's been all Kyle Gibbs, and he's pitched very, very well. Had the White Sox basically eating out of his hand, throwing all 4 pitches very, very effectively.
Here's Rosario to start the 7th inning for the Twins. Rosario with a 2-run single, capping off the 4-run 4th. He takes strike 1. Foul back, 0-2. Now, when we gave you the list of top prospects who haven't contributed at the big league level, we left out Rosario. He's here, and he, in some ways, provided the most electric moment of the season with his first pitch major league home run. Chopper up the middle. Sanchez has no play. He gets it over to LaRoche, but not in time. Second hit for Rosario against a guy who doesn't give up many hits against lefties.
One of the best things about Rosario is his ability to hit left-handed pitching. We've seen examples of it today. You're right, Dick Quintana just getting every other left-hander in the league out, it seems like. And Rosario's 2 base hits up the middle, won a huge bases loaded single to cap off big inning.
Let's see what Hicks can get done here. Rosario chased back to the bag. Hicks has not had a productive series at the plate. He's had a very productive series in the field. The Twins don't want anything to start snowballing on Hicks at the plate. So you can get a base hit here. Twins already 14-6 in May. Already 14-5 against left-handed starters. 1-0.
Look at the lineup that Paul Molitor has out there today. Rosario hitting 8th, Hicks 9th, Dozier 1st. Reminds me of all of us of the speed that's in this lineup that they have. Danny Santana, one of the fastest guys, not even in the lineup, but up and down the lineup, much better speed.
2-0
on the bases now, and as the season goes along, it will give Molitor a chance to get some confidence in certain kinds of situations and counts with certain hitters, get guys started on the bases. He's been preaching running the bases aggressively and intelligently. When you have speed, it helps even more, obviously.
To right, and that will die in front of Garcia. Rosario around second, on his way to third. And Rosario advanced to third, a little flare to right field for Hicks, but he's hit a couple of balls on the button in the series and doesn't have anything to show for it. Robin Ventura to the mound. He may make a pitching change for Scott Carroll.
Well, they all count. All those hits count. That one will look like a line drive in the box score tomorrow, and you need all of them. You absolutely need everything you get, because there's an awful lot of line drives that end up right at people, as you suggest, Dick. And you just need to make contact enough times to let those hits fall in.
Twins chase Quintana. He completes 3 trips through the Twins batting order. involving Josh Hamilton, who will rejoin, since he used to play for them, the Rangers, but he'll make his major league debut this year for the Rangers in Cleveland. And what an interesting story that may develop to be, because essentially the Los Angeles Angels are paying Hamilton to play in the outfield for Texas.
For an opponent in their own division.
And there's 2 games separating the 2 teams in the standings right now. Brian Dozier, the batter, with the White Sox bringing the infield in partway here, about halfway in. First and third, nobody out. Dozier started the game on the second pitch of the game, hit a home run to left, his 8th home run of the year. The Twins added 4 runs in the second when they batted around. The only other time they had Quintana pitching from the stretch, and things kind of snowballed on Quintana, and the Twins had 4 runs. Carroll, the new Chicago pitcher. 1 strike.
Carroll, kind of a long man out of the bullpen for Robin Ventura and the Sox. Have been in 6 games so far, 6 games, 15 innings. Reasonable numbers against right-handed hitters. Trying to stem the tide here while the Twins have a chance to develop another big inning.
Hicks chased back to the bag twice.
I think it's an important run here. Get at least 1 more number. They got a chance. We run on third, nobody out. First and third, nobody out. Don't come away with nothing here. Get a run. Get this run in. Stretch the lead to a run beyond a grand slam and go into the 7th inning.
Old foul. The cliche that's used when you're behind big, it's a mountain to climb. And then when you get a run like this potential run here in the 7th, it's like adding another 1,000 feet to the mountain top.
That's exactly right. And both literally and psychologically. Every time you're looking at one number over there in the losing dugout, and it's 5-1, and now you're in the 7th inning. All of a sudden, it's 6-1. It really, really takes a lot out of your sails over there.
2 strikes to Dozier. A high drive to left field. Back and gone. If 1 run was big, 3 is huge. His 2nd home run of the ball game. And he's now about to score his 34th run, which will tie him for the league lead.
Well, Brian Dozier took this game took it on almost single-handedly, jolting Quintana with the 2nd pitch of the game, and here getting a sinker that stayed right in the middle of the zone. What a good swing. Brian's had good swings all game. Just missed hitting another one earlier. Even had a good swing on a strikeout, but that one was pretty, and he knew it as soon as he hit it. When he squares it up to left field, the park's just not going to hold it. Remarkable ability to square it up and hit it in the air to left field. It's really amazing to watch.
I asked you about that off the air when he flew out to end the 3rd inning. I said, do you agree? He doesn't make that out very often. Once he gets the ball to left field on that trajectory, it usually goes out.
Yep. Yeah, the ball he hit to left, the other good swing he had, I think it was a changeup that he got just down toward the end just a little bit. But you see how he tends to pull the ball. That's what he generally speaking, he tends to pull the ball, and he's going to be working more and more as Robinson bounces back to Carroll.
1 down. Dozier's evolved into a power hitter, principally a pull hitter. Remember, he hit the home run in Pittsburgh to right center field.
Look where his hits have gone. 27 to the pull side and only 3 to the opposite field.
Right, and those 27 to the pull side are an awful lot of home runs and doubles, and that's great. The 3 to the right side got to change just a little bit, I think, for Brian to take the next step to be a 280 to 300 type hitter, and he will learn that. But in the meantime, can't be too down on his ability to be a leadoff hitter. And here's the thing about two things in the American League. First of all, he's got the ability to shock the opposing pitcher and team right from the very first, second, third pitch, the first at bat of a game, which he did today on the second pitch of the ball game. That's a huge advantage when you've got somebody that can do that. Joe takes a slider inside there. But the other thing is, in the American League, since there's not a pitcher, you're only really the leadoff hitter once. And when it turns around, the lineup turns over, leadoff hitters, just like this inning, get a lot of opportunities with guys on base, especially with this Twins team down at the bottom.
Second time that Mauer's hit a bullet for an out. Last time to the left fielder Cabrera, 2 down. Yeah,
that's a good at bat and a good swing by Joe. But just to finish the thought on Bryant, so much of the time with guys like Danny Santana hitting ninth, and some of the guys down in the order that have the ability to get on base for the Twins, Brian Dozier, as the leadoff hitter, is going to be hitting with guys on base a lot, and he can come up with a 3-run home run every once in a while, and they just put a game away like he did today. And it's so valuable to have a leadoff hitter like that.
Starting play today, there were 8 batters in the American League that had driven in 30 or more, and the Twins don't have one of them, but they sure got a bunch of guys in the high to mid-20s. With 4 runs batted in today, Dozier has 24, Mauer has 25, Hunter has 25, and I think every manager who's ever managed would prefer to have your production spread out top to bottom rather than have it concentrated in the third or fourth spot.
Absolutely. Not only is that it tend to be more efficient, but it's an awful lot more fun for the guys on the team.
Right center with
there's
some
the
carry.
channel. There's the channel.
Is going to bang off the fence and off of the glove of Eaton. And Plouffe has an extra base hit. His second hit of the ball game.
And how many times this year, middle to end of last year, and then right away this year, have we seen Trevor hit the ball right in this spot, right center? The ball, as I've talked about before with Trevor Plouffe, the ball jumps off his bat naturally, and when he squares it up, the ball gets out there, and he's hitting the ball to right center and right field better than he ever has, and that's the reason why he's up there in those RBI totals that you were talking about.
Torrey Hunter will bat, infield hit, run scored, RBI. Down and away, ball 1.
Excuse me, Dick. When Brian Dozier starts doing that right there, what Trevor has learned how to do, his average will go from the 250 and 60 where it is right now to 280 or higher.
Inside a ball. Down and away, 3-0.
You know, the difference between hitting 240 and 280 is 1 hit a week in a baseball season. 1 hit a week. So let's say there's 7 games, 24 at bats a game. Let's call it 25 at bats, even though it's 28. Let's call it 25 at bats every week. If you can direct 1 hit to the opposite field instead of a strikeout or a rolling over the top of one, as Torrey draws a walk here, just 1 hit that you can hang in there and fight off to the opposite field. 1 hit a week in every 25 at bats. That, let's say in 25 at bats you're getting 6 or 7 hits. If you can get in the other night 18, 19 at bats that you don't get hits, if you can just figure out a way to flare one over there to right field once a week, you hit 280 instead of 240.
was relating a similar analogy to somebody the other day. Just think of the difference it makes if you win 3 games a week. You're out of the playoffs. People get fired. It's just a disappointing year for the fans. If you win 4 games a week, you're in the playoffs. It's an oversimplification, perhaps, but there's some truth to it.
There's a lot of truth to it.
Just win one more game a week. If you're playing 7, win that 4th game, and maybe that helps explain what we've seen around baseball, not just in Minnesota, but Houston's turned it around. They've got a really good starting rotation. Yes. They've got holes in their lineup. They strike out too much. They hit the ball over the fence a lot, but they're winning that extra game. In their case, maybe 2 games a week. But that's kind of what we've seen with the Twins. They're winning 4 games a week instead of 3. 1-1 to Escobar. Chop foul.
Paul Mahler said that today before the game as well, when he was talking about how much he liked the way the Twins competed last year. They were in almost every game. They just figured out ways to lose.
Right.
They couldn't close them out. They lost a lot of games late in ball games. And this year they're competing just as hard. They're playing some better. They're swinging the bats some better maybe. They're starting pitching much better, but they're figuring out ways to win that extra game that they feel like they should win.
1-2. Escobar takes the ball, and that competitiveness that you've spoken of twice, Torrey Hunter will tell you that's one of the reasons he signed with the Twins. The Twins won the season series against Detroit last year, and Torrey had other offers. Kansas City was interested in bringing him over there, and Torrey had some homecoming thoughts, of course, but he also thought that this team was ready to start playing better baseball, and so far that has been the case. Chopped up the right side, right to LaRoche. That finally is the 3rd out. The Twins have added 3 more runs thanks to a home run by Brian Dozier, 9th of the year, to lead the team.
Is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Minnesota Twins LLC.
An update now on today's DraftKings players to watch. Brandon Beltzman red hot for the Giants. For the Giants. Prince Fielder has gotten it going for the Texas Rangers. One of the reasons they may be the next team to climb over the 500 mark in the American League. Kyle Gibson's been strong here today, and Michael Wacha off to a real good start. Twins hope that Wacha and the Cardinals can beat the Royals. They're leading 4-1 in the 8th inning. There's a chance that both the Royals and the Tigers, the 2 teams ahead of the Twins, will both lose. And again, if the Twins win and the Tigers lose, I think the Twins will be a percentage point ahead of the Tigers in the standings because of the uneven number of games played. And yes, it's entirely possible that the Twins by tomorrow will have the third best record in the American League. Kyle Gibson's been outstanding. He gave up a home run to Abreu leading off the fourth, and he's gotten right back into a groove and retired 9 men in a row. And now with a 7-run lead. LaRoche will lead things off. Garcia and Gillespie will follow. The Twins putting the shift on right away for LaRoche. He threatens to drop down a bunt.
A lot of that has to do with what a guy has shown in the scouting reports up until now.
1-1.
Generally speaking, the Twins wait till there's one strike on a batter before they shift. With LaRoche, I'm sure the scouting report said he'll never ever do it. He'll never try to bunt. Don't worry about it. There you go.
Tries there. Now it's 1-2.
See, and that's the reason why they're so comfortable in shifting with one strike, because most guys won't make themselves vulnerable to that. Now he's 1-2. Now he didn't get the bunt down. He got a strike. Now he's 1-2 and he's battling.
To your point, would be surprised if it's the last time LaRoche tries something like it. Nobody likes to hit 1 and 2, do they?
No.
And he just took a call third strike, and he may think about faking the bunt, taking the strike, then trying to bunt, foul, and now the at-bat's over with.
I know that'd be the last time I have tried to have that kind of bat.
Enter now for a chance to win a trip to the MLB All-Star Game on Fox in Cincinnati for you and 3 of your friends. Upload 2 photos at foxsports.com/fantastic all-star now through June 3rd. And there are no restrictions or suggestions about what the photos should be. It could be you holding a 5-pound walleye if you wanted to upload that. It doesn't have to be baseball related, I guess. Could be a picture of you and me here in the booth at U.S. Cellular Field.
Well, that should win. Something.
J.B. Shuck is hitting in Garcia's spot. Garcia trying to come back and be effective in the lineup after missing the last 2 games with a bum knee. And at least he was back in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that knee got a little more bummed than some of the things he had to do out there defensively.
When he was on base, he wasn't running well, and when he was in the field, he had a hard time landing. And Shuck fires his bat down in disgust after being hit by a pitch.
Well, that's a reaction to how much it hurts when you get hit in the toe with a baseball. I think unnecessary to have that reaction. The ball hitting right in the toe, that hurts. And he's mad at the pain there. But you know what? He's going to strike out. He ought to be happy he's on first base.
Here's Connor Gillespie. Cleveland leading Cincinnati 5-2. Gibson 3 times last year pitched 8 innings in the ball game. He's trying to wrap up the 7th here. Hoping to do so with around 90 pitches. Needs to get a double play grounder here off of Gillespie, but he's gotten 1 already, and now here's a chopper to first. Bauer will just backpedal to the bag, and Shuck will gamely limp to second base. 2 down. Alexei Ramirez will bat. Again, it's the most encouraging thing, I think, for Twins fans. If this is a 4-1 road trip, look what the starting pitchers have done. 5 games, and 5. Everybody had a shot at this, right? Everybody had a game. Velasco through Gibson. And The last go 5 2/3 innings, 3 runs allowed, and that was the worst start of the bunch.
Yep, the only game they lost was 3-2.
Strike of the knees. Gibson just, meanwhile, keeps pumping strikes in, quality strikes, to get ahead of hitters. One and one.
Good pitch there. Ramirez laid off of it. That's a ball he'll swing and miss a lot or foul back at best. Good try by Gibson there, and Herman, good idea. It's slider away.
Grounder hit right at Dozier. And that takes care of the White Sox in the 7th inning. Kyle Gibson might be done for the day. 7 innings. Outstanding job again. In position to pick up the win. It would be his 4th of the year. 2nd consecutive great outing against the White Sox. 11 ground ball outs. Chris Herman will face left-handed reliever Dan Jennings. Will be Herman, Rosario, and Hicks facing Jennings if somebody reaches. Brian Dozier will have an opportunity here this inning to hit his 3rd home run of the ballgame. Herman 0 for 2, drew a big walk in the 4-run 4th. Cardinals leading the Royals, as Tom said, now 6-1. Houston appears to be on the verge of beating Detroit. It's up the line foul. And if you believe, as most people in baseball do, that the American League Central is baseball's toughest division, the Twins, by a very narrow margin, and for however long, would be in 2nd place, 3 games behind the Kansas City Royals. Well, only Kansas City and Houston would have better records in the league than the Twins.
Yeah, we're about to find out about those other divisions, aren't we? We start playing some teams in the East and see how Twins measure up outside of their division, because they've played their division pretty tough, that's for sure. Other than those first 3 games against the Tigers.
haven't fared well overall against the Tigers, but the games have been competitive except for those first 3. Twins with just 2 wins in 9 games. The Twins have played Kansas City straight up 3-3. They have the edge on Cleveland and Chicago. A strike to Herman, 2-2. A heavy dose of the Red Sox coming up. 3 in Minnesota, 4 in Boston. Then they'll be done with Boston, which might be a good thing. The Red Sox hanging in there, just 3.5 games out, although they're 3 games below 500. With the assumption being that they will do something to improve what's been a rather poor pitching rotation. And maybe a case where it's better to face them now early before you get closer to the trading deadline. They could get someone like Cole Hamels or whatever.
And before some other guys start heating up. Like David Ortiz not really swinging it all that well. There's a few guys not.
2-2 to Herman. And a pop-up behind third. Ramirez retreats to the outfield grass. 1 down. And that'll bring up Eddie Rosario. 2 hits for Rosario, both of them against Jose Quintana. The biggest hit, a 2-run single in the 4th. Part of the improved outfield defense for the Twins has to include Rosario.
Sure.
He's played the corner outfield spots. He's given the Twins steady play out there, an accurate arm. Here's a ball lifted to left, hit right at Cabrera, out number 2. That'll bring up Aaron Hicks. Join us on May 30th for a DQ Sensational Saturday. The Twins take on the Blue Jays. All fans will receive a Twins travel pillow courtesy of My Pillow. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets and get yours today. Here's Hicks. Dropped a single into right field, scored a run on the Dozier home run in the 2nd. Ball 1.
Well, I agree with your assessment of Eddie Rosario and what he means in the outfield. And like I was saying earlier, with Shane Robinson, who's a really good outfielder, Rosario on the other corner, Torrey Hunter in right field, Jordan Schaefer, when he's healthy, is a very good outfielder, especially in the corner. It all, if Aaron Hicks can play center field, can hit enough to be every day in center field, it makes that outfield defense with all of those guys playing, any 3 of them, really, really good.
2-1 to Hicks. Hicks has just over 500 big league at bats. There have been too many stretches where he's not done well at the plate, but he was a starting center fielder for 2 years, and then you look at the sum of his big league experience, and he's just now climbed over 500 big league at bats.
Right, which is about a third as many as a guy needs before he really knows what kind of hitter he's going to be in the big leagues. But right about now is a time for Aaron Hicks to start stepping it up in terms of his at bats day in, day out.
On the ground to Ramirez in a 1-2-3/8 inning for Jennings.
different kind of fastballs. That slider right there, that changeup, four-seam fastball, sliders in good spots. He's just been a very, very good pitcher, and he's dominated the White Sox today.
Tyler Flowers will lead off the 8th inning. Pitch count still modest, 93. And we saw it the other
still
night.
Throwing first pitch strikes.
Yeah. We saw it the other night from Jeff Samardzija, and Samardzija pitched deeper into the ball game. And it's one thing to ask pitchers. Bert's always saying, hey, should be able to get 7 or 8 innings out of starters. But doesn't it depend on how well they're pitching in the 6th and the 7th as to whether they should earn another inning out there on the mound?
Absolutely.
I mean, this guy's, he hasn't had any pride. He's given up a hit since the Abreu home run.
Right.
That's what impressed me about Samardzija. He puts Flowers away on 3 pitches, 1 away. Samardzija was just razor sharp with his pitches, as maybe even more sharp with his pitches later in his outing than he was early.
Right into the 8th inning. I was actually surprised he didn't go back out there. That's probably a pitch count as Gibson throws that hard sinking fastball running in on Flowers, puts him away, no problem. But yes, the manager or pitching coach will watch how a guy is pitching in terms of throwing strikes and the kinds of swings hitters are having, and how hard or not they're hitting the ball. And Gibson does deserve to be out there. He just keeps throwing strikes. They're not having good at bats against him. He's in total command.
Gibson went 8 innings earlier this year. We mentioned the 3 times last year. 2 strikes. Fox strikes presented by Carrier.
You're standing over there in the as a manager in the dugout watching the pitcher, and every inning as you get into the 6th, 7th, 8th, with the way bullpens are these days, they have so many good arms in bullpens throughout baseball on every team. And you sit there as a manager, says with 2 hopper to Mauer, a pitcher's fielding practice there. Mauer to Gibson for the 2nd out, but there's so many good arms out in the bullpen. So as a manager, you're sitting there watching. You go, okay, who would I rather have out there here this next inning? How's my guy going?
Right.
And do I want that stuff that he's taking out there? Do I want him to take it out there again, or do I think it's time to get some different stuff out there because it looks like things are the other hitters are starting to figure out, or my guy's not throwing strikes, or the slider's not as sharp, or whatever. And today is a perfect example of the manager, Paul Mahler, standing there and saying, why would I want anybody else out there than the guy that's dominating the White Sox right here today, right still in the 8th inning.
A rare first pitch ball. Now a strike on the 2nd pitch, 1-1. Gibson tying a career high with 8 strikeouts here today. Swing and a miss. So little solid contact against Gibson here today. The Abreu home run, as solid as it was an opposite field home run. Gibson's only had 1 2-0 count all day. Ahead of Eaton now 1-2.
Oh, that's a good pitch.
Just missed getting a called third.
Yeah, it's a really good pitch. You just missed getting a called third strike, and it puts a pretty good fastball inside of the mind of a hitter right here. You can throw a ball in there just missing, and the hitter's got to respect the speed of that pitch in there. Gets him off the breaking ball. You see Kyle Gibson's reaction right there, just a little bit disgusted with himself. One of the few sliders he's thrown that spun in the middle of the zone. He got away with one there. He had a chance. He was trying to throw that back foot slider after coming inside with a fastball. The back foot slider would have been really, really good, and he kind of spun it up there.
Chopper to second. 8 razor sharp innings for Kyle Gibson and an 8-1 lead. Brian Dozier takes strike one. Brian Dozier with a leadoff home run, second pitch of the game, and then in the 7th inning, a 3-run home run. The last Twin to hit 3 home runs in a game was Justin Morneau, who did it here back in early July of '07. Down and away. 1-1. Herman hugging his battery mate. They've formed a good tandem here today. 4 Twins have hit 3 home runs in a game. Fouled back. Bob Allison, the first to do it in Cleveland. Armin Killebrew did it in Boston. Oliva did it in Kansas City, and Morneau did it here. And Dozier, who's hit a couple already, has a shot at it.
2 huge ones. The first one to jumpstart the club. I always think that first RBI, you kind of break the seal, if you will, is maybe the most important of the game. Brian swings a curveball in the dirt and goes down. But then the second one to put the game away from 5-1 to 8-1, and the game's over. And 2 huge home runs.
That was our parting thought with the manager today, the importance of scoring first in a ball game, and how your Uncle Gene Mauch, first inning on, he wanted to score first, and Paul said he thought 67% of the teams that won first or scored first won the ball game. You thought your Uncle Gene said 70%.
Well, Gene didn't have all the computer printouts on his side. He had it all in his brain. It was the most amazing brain I've ever seen on a baseball field. But he said 70% of the time the team that scores first wins. And Paul says 67. I'm going to believe Paul. Things have changed. They've backed up 3% since Gene said that in the 70s, but maybe.
Still, the point remains. It's important to get that first run, and here Dozier took care of that on the second pitch of the game.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's just such an important, a significant skill to have a leadoff hitter that can jolt another team right away. First at bat of the game, and pitcher hasn't even settled in yet. He's down 1-0, and the team whose guy hit the home run is feeling really good about things.
It was a leadoff home run, obviously, in the first inning. Robinson's leadoff double in the 4th, significant because Quintana had set down 9 men in a row. Robinson shot a ball into the right field corner, stretched it into a double, and by inning's end, the Twins had 4 more. Tapped to third. Gillespie across the diamond, 2 down. Follow Twins baseball all year this year with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bats up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. You've stepped in and done rather nicely here in the last 2 road trips. So let me thank you for that. You'll be taking a little time off now, and Bert's going to rejoin the broadcast team, I think, tomorrow. I hope tomorrow, because you're not working. Jack Morris isn't working. It better be Bert.
Better be Bert. He better show up.
1 strike to Bauer. But the Twins had a 500 road trip through Cleveland and Detroit. And now it sure looks like it's going to be a 4-1 road trip.
So I like my record.
I like your record too, and the Twins road record, again, after that awful first week of the year, the road record will be pretty good at 11-12. Detroit did lose to Houston. That 4-game series went to a draw, with Houston winning the last 2 games.
I have to laugh at Eduardo Escobar is right in the middle of all kinds of fun all the time in that dugout and locker room. What a great personality that young guy is, little guy. Torrey Hunter calls him the team mascot. That makes me laugh. They beat on him, they tease him, and he's got such a great personality, but he takes it all. He gives it back and then laughs when they get on him even harder. He's always talking and laughing. What a great personality on this club. Escobar's and the whole team. The team personality is terrific.
Foul off the front of the photographer's area over there. Well, personality aside, just a great teammate. There's a guy who hit .275 as the principal shortstop for the Twins last year. Only committed 9 errors. And, you know, the talk all winter long, all through spring training, was Danny Santana's going to come in, and Escobar shifting primarily to an outfield role, utility role, but an outfielder took it in stride and said, hey, whatever the manager wants, that's what I'm here to do. Twins 3 outs away from moving into second place in the American League Central. Watch out. To 1. Twins comfortably in front. 5-game road trip. Everybody in the rotation got a start, and all 5 gave the team at least a chance to win the ball game.
Yeah, all of them quality starts here going in to the 6th inning with or beyond, with the exception of Ricky Nolasco, who had uncharacteristic of the Twins, had a little defensive problem behind him, or he would have gone at least 6 innings. And boy, how encouraging is that? You take all 5 of your starters and have them pitch like that on a road trip, coming back home with that kind of confidence. That's just a great trip right there.
1-1. Brian Dunston trying to wrap this thing up here in Chicago. This is an inning that might otherwise be going to J.R. Graham, or maybe Tim Stauffer, who's just been added back to the bullpen. Dozier picked that off. Got it on the first hop, I guess, 1 down. But Brian Dunston, frankly, needs some work and needs to sharpen some things up here, and a great opportunity to do that here today. Dunston coming in for the 16th time. He's had some health issues and really hasn't pitched well since being reactivated from the disabled list. Very light rain has begun to fall here. Outside ball 1. St. Louis leading Kansas City 6-1, bottom of the 9th at Kauffman Stadium. They've already, if they win here, will have moved past the Tigers by probably 1 percentage point, for whatever that's worth. Bouncer is short. Escobar scoops, fires 2 down. And now for what's next, brought to you by Century Link. It'll be Joe Kelly against Ricky Nolasco. The Red Sox are going to have to pitch better if they're going to emerge as a contender to get back into postseason play. Boston with the 2nd worst team ERA, 4.57. Only Toronto in the American League has a worse team ERA. Giovanni Soto hitting in LaRoche's spot. Strike one. I'm a little surprised they haven't turned the lights on. They turned them on when the game was, or the field was half covered in shadows, and the other half in bright sunshine yesterday. And this is, I mean, it's dark.
Yeah, I think it sneaked up on a little bit. They can't turn them on now just for the White Sox. They would have had to start the inning there. And I think the clouds kind of sneaked up on them.
1-1. Poof to his left. And the Twins have finished off one of their better road trips over the last 4.5 years. 4-1. And the Twins will go to Target Field tomorrow as a second-place team in the division. And for the first time since 2010, they are now 7 games above the 500 mark.
Well, it all starts with starting pitching. They've got great pitching on the road here. They played solid defense. They swung the bats in key situations. They just played really, really solid baseball. They have not won 15 games in a month since 2011. Let's just say they're turning the corner here from the last 4 years.
And Tom Hanneman, the Twins leave Chicago now 5 games ahead of the vanquished Chicago White Sox.